Hey folks, I want to show you how to do two things today. I want to show you first how to make sure that you get your Yoda, your own digital assistant, your AI thinking partner, properly set up. So I'm going to walk you through the process of how to do that. I'm going to use ChatGPT, but the process is virtually the same for Copilot, Gemini, and Claude. We have instruction sets for all four different tools to make sure you have get your Yoda set up. So we're going to use the first video to show you and make sure we get that set up. Then the second video is going to show you actually an exercise around Johnson Farms crop selection. We're going to show you that, which gives us a chance to show you how we use the this reasoning state engineering and reset process so that the conversation stays fresh. If you've been following my blog series, it'll become more evident. But anyway, the first video here, hopefully a short video, is just to make certain we've got our Yoda set up. And so what you're going to want to do to get started is first off, open up your favorite tool. And I'm going to do ChatGPT. And while that's opening, I want to make sure I have access to all the tools or the files I'm going to need. So I'm going to need to upload the Yoda ebook, the Thinking Like a Data Scientist ebook, the foundation library that captures the five characters, the five personas, the five disciplines of Socrates, of Jesus, of Mr. Spock, of the UN steward, and Aristotle. And then the operating manual, which is used with the activation prompt to get around some tool limitations. And so I'm going to upload those four documents. Also, you should have access already in your binder or your folder, the setup routine for the other four tools, ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, and Gemini. I'm going to close that. You're going to have the Yoda Reasoning State Activation Kit that we're going to cover in the second prompt. I'll cover that for now. But we're also going to need to open up the activation prompt. So, because we're going to copy the activation prompt into our instructions. So let's start the process. And it starts by going to the project folder and selecting the little plus button. We're going to want it in the cloud. And I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call this Johnson Farms Yoda. And I'm going to create the project. Then I'm going to go here into my projects folder, the little three buttons here. I'm going to select that. I'm going to select Edit Project. And I'm going to drop the four files I just talked about, the ebooks for both Yoda and the Thinking Like a Data Scientist, the foundation library that really is critical because it sets the behavior of Yoda across those five characteristics or five disciplines, and then the operating system. I'm going to copy that in there. And while that's being copied in, I'm going to open up my activation prompt document. The activation prompt has an explanation of what the activation prompt's all about. What I'm going to want to jump down to is prompt itself. It says begin activation prompt, copy from here, pretty straightforward. So I'm going to select and copy all the way down to the bottom. Make sure you grab the end of activation prompt. I capture that, close the window. I go into the advanced settings in ChatGPT, up into the custom instructions, and notice there's the end of activation prompt. So I can verify that the entire prompt's been entered in there. I go to back and I click save. And now what I do is I go back to my Johnson Farms, and this little button right here allows me to activate a chat. Now remember, I'm using the project file to set the Yoda behavior that we're going to use, and each chats are all related to a different initiative. So my first chat we're going to walk through is going to be around farm cropping selection. I could have a second chat around farm equipment maintenance. I could have a third chat around commodity price negotiations and such. So I'm going to select this, and that takes me into my very first prompt. And before you do anything, you got to make sure that the chat took, that the that Yoda took. And I do that by typing in the simple phrase that I'm ready. Yoda is looking for that phrase. So don't type anything else in until you do that. And when you do that, you should get a confirmation back that says, I'm your Yoda guide. I'm ready to rock and roll. Here I go. What decision outcome recommendation do you want or trying to improve? So now we have the first chat set. And we will come back to this in a second or two and walk through the farm crop selection example. So again, very straightforward. And I hope everybody can grasp this and make sure your Yoda is set up properly. Again, set the project, Arch, and then we're going to go initiative, business initiative on a chat basis.